Yeah, so welcome viewers to the Wheel to Wheel podcast presented by Singularity Motorsports Racing Team. I'm with Jack here.
Hey everyone.
And present to you the Indycar race that's actually going to be happening here at Michigan International Speedway. It'll be interesting because it'll be the first oval track for the iRacing Indycar series. They just debuted last week here, again following NASCAR's footsteps and Formula One's eSport event. Should be good to see here.
And I guess some of the skills that drivers need to have is how close they stay with their competitor in the formation lap. Like you see the second grid quite a ways back, and now they're going to start bunching up, I imagine.
Yeah, that definitely had some issues in the NASCAR events in terms of because they don't have a restart box for NASCAR on these tracks, and so it caused a bit of an issue. But looks like they might get underway clean.
Like you see, oh, we got an action!
No way! Oh my lord!
Holy crap!
Jesus!
Didn't even make it to the start-finish line.
Oh. That is a new move, I will admit. That is chaotic. Well, that broke the record, I think. The first NASCAR caution came out on lap 2. So, this one by far just took the cream of the crop there. Wow. Absolutely horrendous. I could not believe that these guys are IndyCar drivers. That was absolutely terrible. I don't know if the connection had something to do with it.
We're going to be here till tomorrow if they're going to keep doing this every restart.
Yeah, I better bring out my comforter, pillow, and everything. That
car is so damaged.
Yeah, I'm surprised I don't see his feet sticking out of there. Out of that nose cone. That's, I couldn't tell who that was by the number there, but look at that wing. That literally looks like a crooked tooth.
There's nothing left.
Nothing left. Maybe some dignity. But that was absolutely horrible. I would not be surprised. We should ride on board with some of these guys during that melee. I'd love to see what transpired. Pace trucks just pulled off, and we're going to go single file restart here. And green flag. Flagman looks like he's paralyzed up there a little bit. Oh, there we go. There it is. The full send. Already bold move by Will Power to go by Marcus Ericsson there. Front. Already.
Yeah, it's back and forth. And there's a group forming in the front.
It is, yeah. The first few cars have already pulled. Look at this. 3 wide already into turn 3. Jesus. Yeah, first 5 guys have really, 6 guys you can say, I guess, pulled away from that middle train there.
Man, look at that field. They're all bunched up.
It's crazy. I mean, right now it's not as chaotic as I would have thought it would have been compared to real life. Sometimes you see these guys in real life making 3, 4, even 5 wide passes. It's absolutely insane. I don't know how they do it. Again, these drivers do have spotters in their ear, telling them, when people are inside and outside. But still, as you can ride on board here with Simon Pagenaud, former IndyCar Series champion and Indy 500 winner. He's sitting back here in about 13th position. But for the most part, as you're riding, wow, slingshot right by. Pretty much flat out, a little bit of throttle off if you want to conserve some fuel. But pretty much it's just keeping your nose clean. At this stage of the race, especially.
Yeah, what's going on? He's going backwards here.
Yeah, I think honestly, he is not in a position I'd want to be in, just because that midfield looks dicey as heck, and I think he's slowly trying to drop back to the back of the pack, which I don't blame him. But again, these laps go by relatively quick. It's already lap 13, and so you have to kind of analyze the situation and see. We do expect one pit stop in this race.
It might seem these guys are making it look easy, and obviously, if you're from the world of Formula One, you'll think all you're doing is turning left. But this is not easy to run this close, this tight, and this fast.
No, absolutely not. I think that's again a common misconception that especially with IndyCar, just because you're relatively flat out all the way around the track. All you got to do is just basically fall in line and slingshot and pass at appropriate times, basically. But it's so much more than that. You still have to analyze everything happening at a fast rate of speed in terms of tire wear, fuel management, what position I am in, and how many laps I've basically got in terms of the race distance. I think a lot of that is forgotten. And that's Carpenter that almost lost it on pit road entry and almost smacked the inside wall there. That would have been quite tragic. Could you imagine? You're just slowing down, doing your job, and you crash in pit road.
That's something I do when I'm racing.
As we ride on board here. This is, I think, Graham Rahal, and now the second guy, Will Powers, coming into the pits. Oh, that's plenty of speed from the guy behind. It loses it! Oh, and is that Ericsson? No, that's Davison. And now he's stalled in neutral. You can't find the first gear. Great. Thanks for coming out. That was quite unfortunate, and he's going to be losing a ton of time. And here comes Graham Rahal finally into the pits. Whoa, who is that? That's Nazar. That's a speeding penalty, and for sure he's going to be... What did I just see? What? Oh! No!
The most exciting corner in this race is the pit straight.
Oh my god!
The pit lane. Oh my goodness.
Literally, 3-4 guys losing it there, and Nasser causing a crash. I don't know who that was.
These guys can drive at 200 miles an hour, but can't drive 60 miles an hour in the pit lane.
Oh, that is awesome. I cannot believe that just actually occurred. And that just goes to show you gotta do everything as perfectly as possible. I mean, a lot of these guys misjudging the pit road entry speed there. I believe it's 55 miles an hour, if I'm not mistaken, but it's easier said than done. You come off a banking at more than 180, 200 miles an hour. Look at this. Oh, locked it up. Alexander Rossi kept it in it. Kept it going forward though. Did not pull off Felipe Nasr. Oh my god! And Earnhardt's him. And of course, he's used to racing a ton in terms of NASCAR, so he actually made a clean entrance relatively there. But look at the lead change now. Look at the last pit stop lap there. Will fuel mileage play a bit of a role? I don't know if the tire wear is having as big of an effect as I would have thought, but it surely has something to do with how these guys are performing, because no one's been able to really close the gap for these first 4 guys. Pit road. Carpenter to pit road. I don't know what happened there. Oh, and... Oh, yes. Again. Okay. Yep, he's done. Absolutely fried himself. He thinks he's won the race. And onboard second place man, Will Power. He has obviously won an IndyCar Series title, the Indy 500 as well, recently. So pretty good driver, pretty capable driver for Team Penske. And is that who I think it is? Is that Sage Karam? Yes, it is. Wait, so he's come down to the pits with 13 to go. Does that mean people need to make one more pit stop?
It certainly looks that way.
With 13 to go, that could be literally... So we got a wild card win on our hands here then. It literally looks like anyone could win this race if everyone's got a pit again.
So which makes sense, I guess you were talking about the guys hanging back and saving some fuel and tire. Maybe they're trying to squeeze out, not pitting again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that very well could be a strategy that gets the drivers sitting in the back to win.
That guy looks like he's speeding.
Yeah. No, I think the penalties will be issued accordingly, of course. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe some of these guys, because you can see the last pit stop lap. So some of these guys that have pitted around lap 45, 46 might be able to make it all the way. Maybe, if they've saved enough fuel. I don't know. Especially Pagenaud there. This is going to be very interesting. 7 to go. Will these guys run out of fuel or will they make it? I think they're conserving fuel here. No one's really trying to make a pass. Well, as I say that, someone goes to the inside there. But I don't think they're going at full capacity here. Let's see the RPMs. You can see there's RPMs on the steering wheel there. I mean, he's going full speed. He's hit the rev limiter, but he's backing off early into turn 3 there. So I don't know if they're saving some fuel. 6 to go. Power in 10th. So he would be your first guy that would be pitting on lap 74 there.
Yeah, I wonder if the tires are going to go away and these guys are going to get caught up by the guys who pitted.
Well, they're losing a ton of time to Will Power in terms of his fresh tires and obviously his speed. And if he's in a draft, he will be closing down on these guys in a hurry. The problem for Dale Jr. right now is he does not have any drafting help. So he's about to lose a lot of time. He just got passed, actually, by McLaughlin. Did someone just come down pit road? Yes, it is. Ryan Hunter-Ray. So there we go. It looks like he can't make it on fuel, so he's got to go in. Oh, man, this is exciting. This is actually quite exciting now. I don't know what's going to happen here with 4 to go. Any predictions on your winner, Jack?
No.
Pagenaud is now in first, but he was also the latest of the first round of pit stoppers at lap 46. So he has the best chance, I think, to make it on fuel here. Along with McLaughlin. There's Power. See, he's catching up in a hurry here. He's in 6th. And 2 to go.
Oh yeah, he's flying.
He is gonna... It's a matter of fact who's gonna run out of fuel here, I feel, if someone's gonna run out of fuel. Oh, there... Yeah, see, Veach has to come in. Oh, that's unfortunate. He was in that original group, but I think he stretched it out. Don't know why. Don't think I'll ever know why, but yeah, he's just been sucker punched to the back. Final lap. Oh, Rahal's out of fuel. Is that Rahal? Yes, it is.
Oh my god, racing drivers that don't know how to fuel their cars properly.
Earnhardt Jr. in 3rd. Are you kidding me? He's gonna do it. Pagenaud won. I can't believe Pagenaud actually made his fuel last as long as he did. And will he have enough fuel for a burnout? Let's see. Oh, there it is. Unlike on pit road, this is the proper place to do it. Amazing. Simon Pagenaud. He's won the Indy 500 here. So he just last year.
Started 22nd and he wins the race.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
Absolutely incredible. I think it was a quick race. A lot went on in terms of strategy. Again, strategy, I didn't expect personally for strategy to play as big of a part. I expected cautions to be playing a much bigger factor, just due to the nature of the race itself. But yeah, it was good to see that people were starting to get into the groove of things. Drivers were more behaved. But my biggest takeaway was strategy. I didn't realize just how close they were on fuel, actually, for them to having them to basically go ahead and make a second round of pit stops and having a surprise winner.
Yes, some of these guys got strategy completely wrong, and they could have won the race, but instead they couldn't, right? So that's curious to see. For me, actually, the fact that strategy can become the highlight is a cool story for me, because that means the human factor was not really taking away from the racing. That means the software and the people were able to integrate very well together and create a quality race. And the variable was the strategy on how the humans interacted, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's something that, again, compared to real life, obviously you have a bunch of strategists sitting on top of the pit wall that are there to guide you. But here, it's really, apart from your spotter maybe, it's really you, yourself, and you. So having to make those decisions is very important. And so, again, it shows that, driver IQ in terms of really understanding your surroundings really plays a big part in any race.
The drivers really struggle to slow down their car going into pit lane. I know it's hard because of the difference in speed, but in real life they would have more feel, like, where now they were driving more on visual input, and they were like, oh, I guess I need to brake harder, and lock up. And we saw all sorts of funny stuff in the pit lane, right? Like cars spinning around and getting bogged down and hitting each other. It just seemed like there was more action in the pit lane than it was in the race, other than the first lap.
Yeah, and that was, again, a good point there, just in terms of how surprising it was for people to really have a good feel for coming down pit road. I don't think they had a lot of practice prior to this event, and so it really showed for people, as you mentioned earlier, that like Dale Jr., who had plenty of sim racing experience compared to his counterparts, just not to get messy and to not get caught up in carrying too much speed. But a lot of good racers that had key shots at winning this race, I think, got caught up in that melee there, and it was really unfortunate to see. But I think overall it was a really exciting race. Not as close as though I wanted it to be, but I think from a strategy point of view, I think a lot of elements were involved in creating a successful race.
Starts 22nd, wins a race, is kind of incredible. I thought the guys who did win and end up in the podium at the end drove really well. Scott McLaughlin was one of them, and I thought the battles in the front were really neat. Everyone was very aware of each other, and were very respectful, and kind of gave each other lots of space, and were very smooth and predictable. So it was a lot of interesting drives. I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming in third kind of shows that while driving is important, it's the other fundamentals that you learn from driving that is more important, like consistency and ability to predict and staying in your position when you need to, and kind of drive the car as the race happens, is more important than which series you're running in, because clearly he was able to do this with a different series than he runs in, right?
It's great to see some cup drivers at least giving it a try. Jimmy Johnson, I know, couldn't make it to this event for personal reasons, but I know he entered last week's event, and so again, he did a pretty good job, I thought, for a road course event. But yeah, it's good to see, as you said, Scott McLaughlin coming from the Supercars Championship in Australia, primarily again a road-based series. So having different drivers come in, I think it gives a great element of flexibility, but also shows who the great drivers are in terms of adapting to their surroundings, which we definitely saw here today.
Yeah, like I think one of the things this sim racing is doing is kind of crossing boundaries a lot, right? Because when you race in physical life, it's kind of a closed series. So you've X amount of drivers, this many seats. Now what's happening is that you got people crossing boundaries to join different series that they don't race in real life, and you're starting to kind of bring racing alive and together again, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's, again, not my series is better than yours. It's just we're all part of the motorsports community. And we just love to see, usually, most of us just love to see some good racing, good hard racing, regardless of the discipline that we're watching. So, yeah, great to see that here on air today. What are your thoughts about sim racing and where it's headed?
Obviously, I think they're doing a great job of bridging the racing that's not existent. I love sim racing. I think it has its pros. I'm starting to be more aware of its cons as well. Just as I watch these professional racers who do it in real life come on board and do some sim racing. I love it. I think it's a great trainer. I think it's a very low cost option for some people to go racing and teach and learn a ton, because when you start, there's a ton to learn. But I do think that eventually you need to fully appreciate the sport. You need to step out and do the real thing as well. So I love what it provides me. I love what it provides all the drivers, and I'm glad it exists. I don't know what the future will look like. Maybe you feel every bump and feel every crash when you're in a car. I don't know. I'm curious to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think there's a bit of a ways to go, as you mentioned, but you can't get it spot on just because you can't get the feel of it unless you have a rig that moves a lot with you. So it'll be interesting to see, but I think it definitely has a positive impact, and it's opened up a lot of eyes towards the world of simulation racing as well. But yeah, I'm just really excited for the way that sim racing has progressed, and in the sense that, again, a lot of other sports can't have this type of engagement with their fans, with their audiences, with their sponsors. So it's really cool to see that we're able to use an accurate platform like iRacing to go racing with the world's best and still put on a show for the fans and for everyone involved in motorsports, and bringing even new people to the world of motorsports. And so, with that being said, that concludes our episode here for this week's Real Theater podcast. Racing team. We hope you enjoyed it.